For a long time a person named Kurt has been attempting to become renowned internet-based. He does a wide range of things on his channel Kurt's World 96, including Draw My Life recordings, gaming surveys of shoes, and discussing his #1 console Easy Roots. He likewise flaunts his father Chris, who functions as a DJ and separated from Harm's mother quite a while in the past since his mom had been so annoyed about this. Curtis I'd must be a decent child and live with her while bringing in cash by keeping an eye on the amount he records. However, Kurt hasn't found a faithful crowd for his recordings, his numbers never arriving at the twofold digits. This is altogether different from Bobby and his channel Bobby Headquarters, a youngster Kurt used to look after children, is presently a popular powerhouse. Kurt considers himself to be Bobby's companion, yet Bobby simply endures him and drives him away from his own camera. Following decade of bombed streams, Kurt arrives at a limit and is prepared to offer his channel one final chance with something he calls the example, which is intended to show individuals how to acquire an internet following. He begins by setting up his vehicle with loads of cameras and a lot of water bottles, saying it's stage 1 of an illustration. In the event that you're not reporting yourself, you simply don't exist. This vehicle will be utilized by Kurt to function as a driver for a ride. Your application called Binge, and the principal traveler he gets is a man that won't put on a safety belt and a dubious of the cameras, yet Kurt simply lets him know they're for security. This person likewise teaches the good news of racial oppression, and Kurt stressed that this bigotry could hurt his live streaming crowd, which is right now Bobby, so he starts driving a smidgen all the more foolishly. The person grievances, yet Kurt urges him to drink is free filtered water. It just so happens this water has been harmed, and Kurt even caused an entire video instructional exercise on the most proficient method to do so without getting captured. Then Kurt puts on a few music and paces through a stop sign as the man passes on in his back secondary lounge, hacking his life away. Kurt's just watcher Bobby thinks the kill was every one of the represents sees. However, Kurt is fine with this since this is essential for an illustration. At first, no one ought to have the option to tell that what he's doing is genuine in light of the fact that he needs to finish his numerous undetected for greatest consideration. Not too far off, Kurt's next traveler is a short real estate professional who leaves her sign in the storage compartment. After some chatter, she goes for a water bottle voluntarily, rapidly becoming Kurt's second kill. Kurt goes to the secondary lounge to show the body appropriately on camera and even jokes that he might hydrate too. At that point, Chris calls Kurt to I'm him for a ride. However, Kurt simply hangs up on him. Then he continues to cover his tracks. He opens the lady's telephone utilizing her dead face and gives himself 5 stars on the right application. Many responses, an instant message with a discourteous message so the lady won't be supposed it to work. Meeting in the wake of disposing of the body, Kurt gets his next traveler, and rough dork had named Mario Kart attempts to play his very own portion music, yet Mario whines about it. He likewise will not touch the free water. Then Kurt takes a diversion to get another traveler, overlooking Mario's objection since it was him who picked the pool choice. The traveler's a renowned powerhouse and professional comic named Jessie, who drops the right when she hears Mario hit on her and leaves. Mario pushes Kurt into following her, and Kurt offers to drive her free of charge to go her in the vehicle as he drives. Could hear she has an immense following and asked her how she did it, to which she answers she basically is entertaining. Then Kurt continues to request help and Mario continues to hit on her with exceptionally unseemly remarks, so Jessie records everything for her virtual entertainment prior to leaving. The nauseous of these two unpleasant folks irritating her. Now Kurt is upset since he lost an opportunity to befriend a genuine debilitated spirited powerhouse, so he out of nowhere changes courses and takes Mario to a far-off building site. He's been driving quick to the point that Mario begins feeling debilitated, and Kurt makes him pass on the vehicle to try not to have barf on a seats. Mario gripes, yet at the same time leaves since he really wants to ease himself, and at that point Kurt plays his own melody at full volume and velocities up to hammer his vehicle into Mario, making the body fly at the vehicle and land on the front window for an ideal ridiculous plot for the camera. In the wake of unloading Mario's body and cleaning the vehicle, Kurt stalks Jessie on her virtual entertainment and sees that she has a stand-up show that evening. He considers this to be a sign saying that he and Jessie are two major things occurring on that very night. Clearly Curtis isn't huge yet since he actually having single-digit watchers. It's just Tipper as Bobby who actually think the homicides are phony. That is on the grounds that he's an extremely phony maker himself. He is continuously pulling tricks on the destitute. In the one time he evidently helped them, it was completely represented the camera. This is in no way like Jessie, who individuals like for how certifiable and related will she is. Minutes after the fact, Kurt stops at the service station where he disposes of the real estate agent sign and tops off the tank while contending with Bobby, who lets him know he's exhausting and that he ought to brighten up his stream once all the blood has been cleaned from the vehicle. Kurt attempts to enliven things like Bobby said by driving foolishly for his next travelers, a triplet of socialites that incorporates Richard, Kendra and London. At first Richard and Kendra are frightened by the way Kurt drives, yet London is energized in light of the fact that she feels like she's on an undertaking and leaps to the front seat to talk with Kurt. In the end that goes off course once more and drives the triplet to a junkyard, telling Richard and Kendra to hang out the sunroof since there's a delightful view here that is ideal for virtual entertainment pictures. Richard and Kendra cooperate and really have a good time. However, at that point Kurt starts driving quicker and out of nowhere shuts the sunroof, catching his next casualties while a tune plays behind the scenes. At that point a few wild canines from the junkyard bounce on Richard and fellow of Eden. Kurt takes a power drill that he keeps in his vehicle to kill London with it. A while later Kurt takes his vehicle to the vehicle wash and cause Bobby for his viewpoint. However, he tragically didn't see Kurt's triple kill. He really quit watching the stream on the grounds that Kurt simply doesn't intrigue him. Kurt requests to know why Bobby hasn't given him a whoop yet like he guaranteed, and Bobby lets him know he ought to be more similar to Jessie on the grounds that she appears to be off. Eric. Kurt looks at Jessie's socials once more, however Desire makes him remark sharply in the most finicky ways, like saying she doesn't actually film her accounts upward. While a severe Kurt drives to a house in suburbia, Jessie posts the video she took in the vehicle to consume Mario and Kurt. Then she visits her grandmother to take great consideration of her while recording it for virtual entertainment. Unexpectedly the entryway rings, and she stresses since they weren't wagering anybody. However, it's simply an individual professional comic mic that needs to examine some business-related things. It turns out Kurt is really visiting Bobby, who tells Kurt to disappear in light of the fact that they're not teammates or companions, and this is being said before the camera so that his fans might be able to hear on stream. Bobby affronts civility, draws nearer requesting help, and Bobby's fans end up going to Kurt's stream to see the opposite side of the contention. Kurt unexpectedly cuts Bobby with a blade as a stream at last arrives at twofold digits. Bobby attempts to protect himself with a firearm, however after some battle Kurt overwhelms him and kills him despite the fact that his crowd accepts it's all phony. Kurt bounces into triple digits by facilitating a stream on Bobby's feet and even records himself showering to dispose of all the blood and going through Bobby's things. At that point his father texts him say that he wants a ride to a gig. At first Kurt doesn't have any desire to help him since he needs to go to Jessie's show. However, when Chris specifies he'll meet a popular DJ, the visit perceives the name and Kurt seizes the chance. Kurt picks Chris up in their dad-child relationship is clearly off kilter, making them rapidly fall into a contention crisis, stunned to find Bobby's weapon in the vehicle and reproves his child for it, which just triggers one more or on the other hand battle that doesn't stop until they need to conceal the firearm on the grounds that the police are close by. When they at last come to the club they meet with the popular DJ known as Uno, and they inquired as to whether she can label Kurt's direct in a post. At first she says no, however at that point she becomes weary of being there and consents to do the yell out of Kurt drives her to a taco truck. In the end they find a taco truck and Uno requests Kurt to take photos of her and afterward paused line for her as a feature of an arrangement. The line is very lengthy, so Kurt share a few revolting stories to drive clients off. In the meantime Una checks out the vehicle and finds the weapon Kurt took from Bobby Wood she utilizes as a prop to take a couple of egotistical then she hydrate, yet this ends up being one of Kurt extraordinary Bruce, and she quickly breathes easy, forgets once more into the vehicle with the food. Una was only a body and he rapidly disposes of the water bottle. Tragically this definitely stands out of the police, who approach request that she play out a field balance test while Kurt imagines Uno as his young lady and she just nodded off out of nowhere. Uno awakens in light of the fact that she didn't drink to the point of completely dying, and seeing the police she frenzies and shoots one, proceeding taking off. One of the police pursues her, and when Kurt takes the chain as to get away from in his vehicle, is likewise followed. This is supporting his livestream watchers as far as possible up into quintuple digits. Frantic to lose the police, Kurt starts driving like a lunatic and winds up crashing a destitute camp, killing a couple of homeless people deliberately before his vehicle flips. In the meantime Jess has been given a ride to her show by Mike, who continues irritating her and saying he has a wide range of contacts. This person I likewise is somewhat opening before her, yet makes no one in the crowd giggle. Anyway, people in general quickly goes crazy when Jessie assumes control over the stage, and secret in a corner is Kurt with his weapon. After a couple of her typical jokes, Jessie discusses her binge insight with Mario and Kurt, saying that Kurt's starvation for online entertainment supporters brought her a touch of self-reflection. Bliss can't be found in a high buy-in Relate, and regardless of the quantity of perspectives you're just getting judged and loathed for others' diversion. She completes her set by crushing her telephone in front of an audience, finishing her dependence via virtual entertainment with a could drop and leaving everybody in shock. Contacted by her discourse, Kurt chooses to leave without making any sort of wreck, just to discover that the binge benefits briefly suspended thanks to his homicide binge. Kurt gets a ride through another application called Go and gets in the vehicle of a cordial man called Spot at the rapidly pokes a fun at not being the insane driver that has been killing individuals all night. Kurt thinks about this literally and makes it a point to David in seconds. Back in the bar, Jessie is burnt out on managing Mike, who won't quit recording her regardless of whether she dropped virtual entertainment, and she chooses to dump him by calling for Gogo. Father's vehicle showed up, yet it's Kurt doing the driving, and he uncovers to Jessie that he's the driver from prior that she ridiculed in her set. He likewise tells her that he was at her show, so he knows she won't have the option to involve your telephone for help since she crushed it. Believing that Jess's powerless shade structures are that he's bringing her to his back home so they can communicate love rather than disdain, yet Jessie retaliates with a telephone charger cord and chokes him until the vehicle hits a garbage can. Kurt stops the vehicle with a half in reaction by punching Jessie, taking her out. Then he drives her to his front grass where he hauls her body, and it was headlights. He pulls the crowd on how he ought to manage her in the water. Pick you should. Executioner. Kurt prepares to run her down as watcher spam the visit anyway. When he stops to conform to fallen camera, he neglects to focus on Jessie, so he passes on the vehicle to search for her while the talk calls him out for his stupid move. The crowd ends up being correct. Jessie utilizes the opportunity to get in the vehicle and assume control over the wheel, quickly utilizing the vehicle to run her down anyway. She lets completely go. What's more, her driving outcomes in the vehicle crashing directly through the side of his home, and Kurt has space to dodge her. Then he attempts to kill Jessie by pushing her face against the airbag. However, Jessie pushes him off and Kurt bugs into one more space while Jessie tells the livestream that she wants assistance and attempts to persuade them this is genuine. Chris shows up too in a stun to find the house obliterated with Kurt's mother dead on the floor. It's then, at that point, uncovered that she was Kurt's first casualty. He killed her off-screen just prior to taking off to convey the example. Out of nowhere, Kurt emerges and snatches Bobby's gun from his vehicle, which he then uses to shoot his father a couple of times, rapidly killing him. In the meantime, Jessie attempts to get away from in the vehicle, however, while going backward doesn't work. She simply drives forward and pulverizes Kurt against the wall. The talk advises her to mind the body, and Jessie does. Cover. Kurt isn't dead yet. She's compelled to complete the task by crushing his head with his telephone, while a flashback to a couple of moments prior shows Kurt feeling like a pro since he had 50,000 people observing. Then the visit requested a selfie with the body, and Jessie puts it all on the line. The next days, Kurt's case becomes viral news. Jessie winds up more popular than any other time in recent memory as a media sovereign, and Curtis, regardless of utilized by all correspondents, he has seen as a legend by a portion of the scummier portions of the net like 4chan and Reddit as these structures load up with deference for Kurt. One client uncovers they're making a film about him called Binge. If you like this video, please give a thumb up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this one.